We are right on the heels of the toughest single-day off-road race in the world, and if you're planning on going to this event or you're planning on watching this race, you're going to want to watch this episode first. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Chasing Dust. I'm your host, Matt Moghaddam, only on Driving Line, and I am super pumped because it's January, it's a new year, and you know what that means. King of the Hammers is coming right up. But first, I want to say a big thank you to all the viewers out there. We are now entering the 8th year, believe it or not, of Chasing Dust. I've been doing this show for Driving Line since 2018, so I'm super grateful to be back here this year with a whole bunch of new, fresh content for you guys, starting off with one of my favorite events of the entire year, the King of the Hammers race. As you guys can see, I've changed my background for this special KOH episode. We got Hammertown here behind me. This is what it looks like out there in the middle of the race week. There's literally 80 to 100,000 people out there on the Lakebed. If you've never been, it's a spectacle to see if you're into this kind of thing. So on today's show, I'm going to go over a few items. First, what do you need to know about King of the Hammers, the schedule, what you need to bring with you, some of the best practices for going out and spectating this race or staying for the whole week. And then I'm going to go over what we already know about this race, just based on Dave Cole's comments during the pre-race live show that they did just last week. I'm going to get more into that a little bit later, but first I want to give you guys an introduction to King of the Hammers. Now, if you've never been, you can probably guess that KOH is an off-road race. However, over the years, it has evolved to a much bigger event. I said 80 to 100,000 spectators. It now spans a couple of weeks of motorsports events, and it takes place in a small corner of the Mojave Desert called Johnson Valley, which is about 2 hours outside of LA, Orange County, that area. This is a very spectator-friendly event, and there's a lot of activities for you to do besides camping, off-roading, checking out the vendors at Hammertown. There's just a ton of stuff to do out there, and that's why I love coming out to this race, as opposed to some of the other motorsports events, which are pretty hard to watch. In fact, most people will actually take their 2 weeks of vacation and they'll drive their families and their RVs across the country just to come to this race for a couple of weeks, and this is where they spend their time with their friends and family. So if you've never been before, I'm super excited for you because my first time at King of the Hammers was a much smaller race than it is today. I first started going out to this back in 2012, and now it has grown into this massive weeks-long event. So I'm super stoked for you. If you're coming out for the first time, you're going to have a blast. I thought it'd be helpful to go over the schedule with you guys so that you know what's going to happen when, so that you can plan your stay regardless if you're coming out for just a day or if you're going to be coming out for a week or 3 weeks. So we're going to dive here into the schedule, and I'm going to go through this with you guys. Obviously, there's a whole lot of activities that are going to be taking place over the course of King of the Hammers. Scroll on down here to Monday. So this is what the real true core of KOH week is. This is the Rock Racer week. This is where we're going to have the UTV race, the Everyman Challenge, and then, of course, the Race of Kings, which is the main event of this entire event, which is the Unlimited Class 4400, the Big Bad Boy V8 rock crawlers. There's going to be UTV qualifying on Monday here. Tuesday the 3rd is going to be the Everyman Challenge qualifying. Now, these are going to be like 37-inch tire cars, older Legends class, 4400 cars that have now been moved up to 4800 class. Wednesday is when the real action starts. This is going to be the Race of Kings qualifying. Now, if you've never watched qualifying, it's super fun. It's a short little lap that they do, and this is what's going to set their position in the field for the actual race day, which is going to be on Saturday. Now, at 3 o'clock on February 4th, Wednesday, they're going to start Power Hour. This is when the fastest and best 4400 class cars take off. It's later in the day, so you get some more dramatic lighting. It's really, I think it's there for the media guys like me to be able to get some really cool shots, and it's super fun to watch. This is where you're going to see some of the fastest qualifying laps being put down, and usually where you're going to find your first place off of the line. Your pole position is going to be set during Power Hour. And the beauty of qualifying is that you can watch it from right around Hammertown, or you can watch it on the Megatron in Hammertown. It's really great because you don't have to go all the way out to the desert to watch this. You can actually just watch it, right from there inside of Hammertown itself. Now, Thursday the 5th, this is your UTV championship race. This is going to be a very similar race to the Race of Kings. However, it's 2 laps. You have a desert lap and a desert and rocks lap. The race is going to start at 8 a.m. and it looks like they're going to be finishing at 6 p.m. plus adjusted start time. So if you're starting at, let's say, 8:30 because you're back in the pack, you're going to have until 6:30 to finish. February 6th, Friday, this is going to be your EMC day. So Everyman Challenge race, this is going to be some of your underclass four-wheel drive rock crawlers. You're going to see a lot of solid axle cars in the field, so this is where you want to watch those guys. And that race also starts at 8 a.m., same 2-lap system where they're going to have 1 desert lap and 1 desert and rocks lap. And also the same schedule they're going to have until 6 p.m. plus whatever their adjusted time was from when they started. Now, February 7th, Saturday, this is the big race. This is the Race of Kings, and this is where you're going to see the fastest guys. You're going to see guys like Lauren Healy, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Shannon Campbell, Paul Wolf, Waylon Campbell, Bailey Campbell, all those big names you've heard around 4,400 class King of the Hammers racers. This is the race that they're all going to be on. I'm going to get into what the race entails here after in a second, but it does show that there's 3 laps. There's a desert lap, and then there's 2 desert and rock laps. And the race is going to finish at 10 p.m. plus your adjusted time. So we're starting at 8 o'clock. They're going to be lining up inside of Hammertown around 7 a.m. You're going to hear those big V8s chopping as they're driving through Hammertown, getting staged, getting ready for this race. And then the green flag drops at 8 a.m. and that's when they go 2 by 2 off of the start line and 30 seconds apart until the entire pack is out there. Now, another scheduling note to add here, they don't have it here, but most of the time, now this is dependent on the course, but most of the time, these racers, at least the top 10, are going to come in around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pretty quick. I know they have until 10 o'clock to finish, but our fastest guys are usually coming in around 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We've seen them as early as, I think, 12:30 at one point. So those were some of the, I guess, faster course races. I have a feeling that we're going to be a little bit later this time, probably around 2 o'clock, just given some of the notes that Dave Cole has gone over during the pre-race show. Okay, so next I want to go over what the course is going to look like for the Race of Kings, which is the main event. I don't have a map to show you guys because Dave Cole, who is the race promoter for King of the Hammers, has basically kept the map totally close to his chest. They're not going to be releasing this until the day before the race. However, we got a little bit of a teaser during the pre-race live show. So what I did for you guys was I watched the entire, whatever it was, hour and a half show, and I found the spots of that show that show where the course is on the different laps they went over, and I screenshotted them. So bear with me because the quality is not the best. It's pretty poor, to be honest with you. However, it kind of gives you a good overview with some context of what this race is going to look like, what direction they're going to be going out of Hammertown. So if you've ever been, this is going to look a little bit more familiar for you. If you've never been, this is probably going to be too much for you to understand or remember. However, don't worry, I'm going to be providing you guys with a map to show you how to get there after this. So once again, I apologize for the crudeness of this. This is just a screen grab from the live show. However, I want to, if you guys can see my cursor here, I'm going to show you guys where everything is. So right here is where Hammertown is. This is where you're going to see, where the actual vendors are. This is the start and finish of the race. Now, we already got word that they're going to be going counterclockwise around this. And this here, what I'm showing here on this red line, this is lap 1. It's a little bit different from other races that you've seen in previous years because they usually go clockwise and they go way out here into the desert and they come back. They did mention that the course has been slightly modified this year because of some of the land use issues that they've had with the military nearby. So this is their new lap 1 and they're going to be going clockwise. So what that means is they're going to be leaving here in Hammertown, shooting across over here to the Emerson Ridge, which heads out to Emerson Dry Lake out here. They're going to be doing some technical trails here. These are just like, goat trails or fire roads, but a little more technical. And this is not going to be a rock lap. So this is the desert lap. They're going to be going through this pretty quick and then back out through Emerson Ridge, up through the desert, and then around this loop here, again through the desert. This is all fast sections here and then back down into Hammertown. That's going to be your lap 1. Nothing crazy, no big surprises. This is mostly stuff that they've already raced before. I would expect them to finish this lap within an hour. I'd say the fastest guys are going to be in probably like around 9 o'clock, 9:30 at the very latest. And then we move into lap 2, which Dave also was talking about. However, he did not, he didn't talk too much about lap 2. He just gave us a little bit of a taste. So I'm gonna try to move out of the way for you guys a little bit here. Lap 2 here is very similar, you can see, as lap 1 in this section up here. However, once they go through Emerson Ridge, this is where they get into all of these rock racing trails. Now you can see some of those there. It's going to be like Thor's Hammer, Big Johnson, Claw Hammer, Wrecking Ball, Jack North, Laser Nut Alley, Sledgehammer. All of these hammers trails are going to be hit during lap 2. There was a section of lap 2 that Dave did not want to talk about. They didn't show it on here. It's going to be never before raced portions of these hills and these rocks. So it's going to be really fresh for these racers. And that kind of makes it more fun because it's unpredictable. They don't know how to pre-run it because they don't know where the course is. He's not releasing the map files until the day before. So by that point, it's too late to get in your pre-runner and go up there. Although I'm sure some of these guys are going to want to try and do that. So this is your overview of lap 2. And they didn't show us an overview of lap 3, which is what they call the blue lap. Now, again, from watching the pre race live show, Dave was talking about lap 3. And what he was mentioning was that lap 3 is going to resemble lap 2. However, there's going to be some added trails that are part of lap 3 and not part of lap 2. And they're going to be getting progressively more challenging as lap 3 goes on. So it's kind of a fun way to end this race, because somebody who's way up ahead could have a technical issue. They could have a breakage. They could have some issues on those harder trails, which allows some of the guys from behind to catch up. And we've seen that so many times at King of the Hammers. When you think someone's got this race in the bag, they break something on the last lap when they're way ahead, and then comes second and third and fourth position behind them, blowing right past them. So the beauty of King of the Hammers and why I love going out to watch this race is because it's not over till it's over. You never know what's going to happen on lap 3. And the fact that Dave is completely not even like showing the lines at all on this is kind of fun, because we don't really know what to expect. The spectators don't know what to expect. The racers don't know what to expect. Even the guys who are broadcasting the race have no idea what to expect. Only Dave and a couple of his guys who have been coursing and plotting this course out are going to know what to expect here. Dave did mention to us, however, that he expects the top 15 finishers on Saturday to arrive at the finish line by around 3:30, no later than that. So I would imagine our first couple of guys will be coming in around 1 o'clock, and then the next 14 of them, are going to be trickling in after that until about 3 o'clock. Okay, so next I want to show you guys a map that I built just to show you how you can get around the lake bed to some of the spectator spots that I kind of have an idea they're going to be a good place to watch the race based on just where the map is going this year. So we're going to move over here into Onyx Off-Road. This is the mapping software that I use, and I'm going to show you guys basically some of the easiest ways to get to these places. Now, starting off with this red trail here, this is Highway 247. This is Boone Road right here, and this is basically your entrance into King of the Hammers. Now you can see I also marked the gate right here. This is where your entry is going to be to the King of the Hammers. This is where you're going to pay your entry fees for your RV or your camping, get your wristbands for Hammertown. As you get through the gate here, you're going to see all the camping here on the left side of Boone Road. This is where you're going to see all the RVs packed in, sitting here for a couple of weeks, some of those guys. And this is where you're going to want to camp if you're staying out here for the duration of this week. And then in here, you can see that Onyx has generously given us the Hammertown map. So this has got a map of basically where all the vendors are going to be, some of the pits that you're going to see here in orange, and then you're going to see, where the stage is going to be. This is where they come in after they finish, and then this little carve out is basically where the start finish line is usually right here. So this is great that you have this, because you're going to be able to see where you can go while you're out there. And then, as you can see, I got a couple of blue lines that are leading out of Hammertown to several spectator areas. I'm going to go through these with you guys really quick. The first one is going to be the furthest north. This is going to be up here along the race course, which basically runs this direction. And there's a little lookout spot on top of this hill here. And don't worry, you guys, I'm going to give you guys the link to this map so you can plug it into your Onyx if you're going to be going out there. But yeah, so this is going to be a spot where you can watch. There's an elevated hill over here that kind of overlooks the race course, and you're in a safe distance away to watch the race there. If you want to get a little bit further out, it's probably going to be less people up here. I would recommend checking that spot out. And then secondly, going down here is going to be a fan favorite, which is the Chocolate Thunder spectator area. They're going to be going up Chocolate Thunder on this race on Saturday, so that's going to be fun to watch. Last year they came down. This year they're going to be going up, so you're going to see those guys going up through these rocks over here. If that's a little bit too crowded for you, you can come down. There is a hill up here. This isn't an official spot, spectator spot, but this is a place that I like to go to. It's another elevated hill because those guys are going to be staying up here in the rocks, and they're going to be racing just across this little valley right here. So you can stay up here in an elevated spot, and you can see them going down through here. Maybe a good spot for an hour or two to hang out and just get some fresh air out of the dust a little bit and watch this race. And then Dave mentioned another spot down here, which is between Jackhammer and I guess you'd call this Laser Nut Alley down here. And actually, he called it Tumbleweed. So this is Tumbleweed and Jackhammer, which is where they're going to come out of Jackhammer, go across this valley, and then come back up here into Tumbleweed before they make their way up into Chocolate Thunder again. There is going to be a fence here along this part of the course, and you're going to be able to watch the race from here at a safe distance to be able to watch these guys go down through this, I guess it's this little burned in line that you can see here. So that's another spot that you guys can spectate from. Now, I'm going to show you guys this other one up here. As you can see, this is quite a ways away from Hammertown and everything else. This one, I'm not 100% sure how the spectating is going to be. However, the race is going to end up in this section. So I'm going to zoom out here. You're going to want to get back on 247 and you're going to head north, and there's a road here, dirt road called Bessemer Mine Road. This goes out to Soggy Dry Lake. If you've ever been out there, you're going to pass the lake bed and you're going to go up and keep going up and keep going up. There's a boundary here because to the south of this line is the shared use area for Johnson Valley. North of this line is all Marine base. So if you click on it, you can actually see where it says Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms. Click on this side of the line and it's the shared use area. So if there's nobody telling you that you can't go through here, you always want to make sure that you abide by the course workers. They're going to be on you like flies if you're in a place you're not supposed to be. There's going to be a little corner here where the racers are going to come in. So you might be able to catch a glimpse of them here, but I'm just going to give you guys the standard warning. You need to be safe while you're out there. Make sure that you're in a place you should be. And if you want to get a little bit closer to watch the action, and just make sure that you guys are in a good spot. If someone tells you to move, please listen to them, get out of there, because it's for the safety of the spectators, the crew, and the competitors. And then alternatively, if you don't want to go anywhere and you kind of want to watch the race from the best view, there's a big Jumbotron in Hammertown right in front of the stage here, and you can just park your lawn chair there and watch the entire race from that section. I know a lot of you guys are going to ask me about backdoor. I don't know if they're going to be going up backdoor. It looks like they're going to be skipping over backdoor. That just is what it looked like when they came up close into this section here. It just didn't look like they were going on it. Now, maybe on lap 3, they're going to be forcing competitors to go up backdoor because that's the direction of travel around this course. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, but it's really close to Hammertown. So if you want to get to backdoor, you basically just follow this trail here where it says backdoor bypass right here. And then up along this ridge here is where you can typically watch them go up backdoor here. But again, it looks like they're going to be going around and not up. So we'll see if they're going to throw that surprise on lap 3. That'd be kind of cool. And before we wrap up this episode, I just want to throw in a quick word here about safety because I think it's very, very important. It's paramount that we all stay safe out there. This is a live race course. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. This is a live race course. There are guys going by you at 120 miles an hour sometimes in these unlimited trophy trucks. Okay, you need to know where you are. And guys, this is not Baja. You cannot go right up to the race course and try to high five these guys as they go by. 200 to 300 feet minimum distance away from the center line of the race course. These guys, they vary which line they pick. Sometimes they go a little bit further. You want to just have plenty of space away from this course. And that's if you're out there somewhere where there's nobody else around, okay? There's course watchers, there's helicopters. They're all watching and they're going to call it in. It happened to us one time. We took a big group out there to watch the race. We didn't realize how close the course was to where we were standing because we got there before the race started, and I had a guy up on a UTV up on the hill who had called it in, and they sent somebody over to us and told us all to move back. It's for our safety and for the competitors. So just make sure that you know where you're driving. Make sure you know where you're sitting to watch this race. Everybody needs to be safe so that we can make sure we all get out of there safely. And I think it's just, if everybody does their part to just make sure that they know where they are at all times, just having that situational awareness, it just makes it a lot safer and a lot better for everybody so we can continue to do this. Because the more accidents that happen out there on the lake bed, and it happens, okay, let's be honest, there's people life flighted out of there all the time. Every time that happens, we get this much closer to losing this entire thing, okay? And I want to take my kids here someday. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. So let's just make sure that we make this a safe event for everybody involved. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm super, super stoked for this race. I can't wait to get out there. So if you see me out there, I'm going to be in my brand new Shelter Green 2025 Raptor. So if you see me out there, please say hi. But chances are you probably won't because there's like 100,000 people out there. I hope this episode helped you guys prepare for this race here, the 2026 King of the Hammers. And if you're going out there, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're going to be out there, what you're staying, where you're going to be camping, what you're driving, what you plan on doing. Or if it's your first time, let me know too. I'd love to, give you some more individualized notes. If you have any questions or anything, just drop them in the comments below. Thank you guys again for watching. I can't believe it's been 8 years that I've been doing this show, but I got a whole lot of content lined up this year for you guys. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode. But I'm Matt Moghaddam, your host of Chasing Dust, only on Driving Line. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is Matt from Chasing Dust. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because Driving Line's creating all kinds of awesome content for gearheads just like you. I'll see you guys out there.